What up, people? It's Nickopz here, and today I'm going to be talking about why I think Chaos Reigns was such a terrible DLC. Now, I already made this video, like you can literally see it here right now, but I'm going to delete this after I upload this one because I actually messed up very terribly in the video with the editing. I had a part repeat twice, and yeah, I'm just not going to stand for that. So I'm going to just have this right here. I'm going to just play this part for the background footage and everything. And I'm going to talk over this video on how I feel. And the information will be more condensed because now I know everything I'm going to say in the moment. If you hear me mess up at all, forgive me. I'm not going to do another take because this is a whole 16-minute video going to waste because Sony Vegas is annoying. So let's get right into this. Why I think Chaos Reigns was such a fail as a DLC. Now, there are plenty of reasons, but let me go in the order I know now. First things first, it being overpriced. Chaos Reigns had no business being the price it was. And matter of fact, let me reset transform right here, fit this to screen. See, this is showing y'all. There we go. That looks better. Again, I'm going to keep this in one take because, again, just wasted 16 minutes. So, it was overpriced. The fact of the matter is, they are charging $8 per DLC character now that everything is said and done. So, it was scummy that they did not tell you you were going to be able to buy the characters separately. They included the story mode with all 6 DLC characters. They priced the DLC characters at $8 a piece. That's their pricing. If there's 6 characters and you do the math, that's $48. So off of that character pricing, you are telling us basically that the DLC story-wise was only worth $2. That makes absolutely no sense. That's how you know they overcharged for the DLC in general. But again, people are complaining a lot about the price. The price of the DLC didn't matter. The thing is, what people need to realize is people are willing to shovel money when the content is worth the price. But the problem with that is the content was not worth the price. If they know that the game released early and there's some things they need to do to make up for it, then they should have done that. And this was the perfect time to segue into my second part, the features. The only feature that came with this new update was practice mode training, which was good, but it was something that should have been in the game in the first place. So they should have brought something more to the game feature-wise to make up for their lack of features in the game originally, and they didn't do that. So we end up with a overpriced DLC, a bunch of lack of features, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is the, if I can remember correctly, overpriced. Then we have the lack of features. And then the third thing was, we'll get to the third thing when I remember it. Again, I'm not doing another take in this video because I want to go over more of the lack of features. If you think of the lack of, what I mean by the lack of features, if you compare the games to each other, I'm going to call it the big four now. There's people that try to knock Mortal Kombat out of the big three because Guilty Gear is doing really good in tournament, but tournament doesn't determine how well a game is doing, like literally at all. And that's why, if we're going to do that, we're going to call it the big four now, because MK, if we compare all the big four, and matter of fact, no, we're just going to do 3: Tekken, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat. If we compare all of those 3 games together and look at what each game has to offer as far as features, Mortal Kombat is a joke compared to Tekken and Street Fighter. Feature wise, Mortal Kombat is a joke. Tekken, the character customization is amazing. The practice mode is amazing. Street Fighter, the amount of content for all levels of play is amazing. Like their story mode has shown what fighting game story mode should be. I think Street Fighter has shown that. There's nothing wrong with the big story thing, but the Street Fighter story stuff gives you stuff to do even after you're finished, which is great. You know, it's just not online gameplay and all of that stuff. So again, comparing those games to Mortal Kombat feature wise, Mortal Kombat is lacking heavy. If you play Mortal Kombat now, all you have to do is just get online and play. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they're not charging just get on and play prices for things. They're charging, you know, more than their peers while giving you less content. And now I finally remember the last thing I wanted to talk about. It was the bad story. But again, let me get into that because somebody actually left a comment on this video and I'm going to address that. So again, the things that came to the game, the things that were lacking from the game that should have came to the game by now, if they wanted to make up for the fact that they know that the game came out early, they did not do that. They did not add more features to the game. They, like, in Injustice 2, you could literally spend hours customizing your character. And you could do that in Tekken, like, hours customizing your characters if you want to. That's just a thing you could do, an option. Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't give you options. And again, their long strand of content was meant to be invasions, but invasions are terrible. Somebody in the comments on this original video before I'm posting a fixed version disagreed with one of the things I said. I said that I feel like they should scrap invasions. And he said there's no way that they can just scrap a whole game mode from, you know, the game and everything, which that is a good argument, but invasions is not like fleshed out enough to even warrant that being a big deal. So I get that being an argument, because another thing I think that is bad about the game is the invasion mode. Like, they try to use that as their excuse to make up for the lack of content, but that invasion mode is terrible. They need to take inspiration from some other games like Street Fighter. Street Fighter has some of the best content you can, you know, play and do just by not playing online. Like, they have actual stuff you can get on and do and have fun, and Invasions is not that. I think it was a fail. And the problem with NRS is when they fail, they don't do anything about it. They just take the failure and keep going. Sometimes stuff don't work out, but I don't know if it's cockiness from them or just arrogance, but NRS doesn't revert or change much. Like, NRS has this thing where they never revert a patch, which is a crazy thing. Like, if they nerf a character, that character stays nerfed like that forever. That's not good. They need to accept that they can make mistakes sometimes. And just the fact that they have this philosophy of they're never going to revert a change ever, basically, you're telling me they don't think they're wrong ever. Because you could be wrong. You can make a mistake. Some changes can be reverted or should be reverted if it comes out not right. And I think Invasions is a terrible mode. And I feel like it should be scrapped. It was just bad. If it makes it to the next MK game, I'm genuinely going to be surprised. It was just a scrap. So that's another thing. I feel like with the DLC, they're adding invasion stuff too, but no one cares about it. And to top everything off, the bad story. The story in Mortal Kombat 1, again, has already been convoluted because of this whole time stuff. I hate when stories bring time into things, because time messes with so much lore. It makes deaths meaningless. It's just terrible. That's why I don't really watch a lot of superhero stuff, because that whole multiverse and time crap, it just takes away the feels. Like, stuff don't matter anymore, because if this character died, oh, he's gonna come back in a different timeline. Like, it's just lame. I never forget watching The Flash, and when it got into all of that stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is boring with the whole time stuff. But again, in this timeline, the thing that's crazy, and I'm so happy, again, I'm kind of happy I'm remaking this video now, because some of the comments made really good points. Okay, if this is a spoiler, so just pause it here if you don't want to hear anything else. This is a spoiler about the story. Noob ends up beating Titan Havoc. How does that make any sense? He was so you're telling me that Titan Havoc, which is a Titan, the Titans are supposed to be the strongest of the strongest. They killed Kronika in their respected timeline. You're telling me Noob now is stronger than a Titan. That makes no sense. Like, he was created by Havoc, somebody who is supposed to be stronger than Kronika, because they all killed Kronika in their timeline. You're telling me that Noob is strong enough to beat a Titan when he, and this, shout out to the commenter that left that, when Tanya, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I remember it. I'm 90% sure. Tanya beat Noob in the story, and Noob ends up beating Titan Havoc. That absolutely makes no sense. And that just goes on to me talking about the end, because the end of it was just terrible. The end of the story, it left you with the feeling, this is it? Like, that's what it left you with. And you just felt like, okay, I played and paid for this and I just feel empty. Like, this is it. I have no more content I'm not going to have no more content for another year. Like, no more content besides playing the game, which is fine, playing online, I mean. But still, it's a 4-hour something DLC with a lackluster ending. And I don't know how they thought people were going to perceive that. Does anybody test these things? Like, did they actually think that they can release that lackluster story and it was going to be okay? Like, it was just a bad story overall, on top of the fact that the ending was just terrible. Now, if it would have kept going, the story would have been good. I definitely do think that, but it didn't keep going. It ended. If we could have got double the time, it could have potentially been good. I mean, but again, that pretty much is wrapping up this video. I feel like Chaos Reigns was the time for them to start doing everything right. And with the leaks coming out of the game ending at its normal time, that's another thing. I think people are doing too much about the leaks. Like, if the game ends within 2 years worth of content, that's the norm. That means they're just working on the next NRS game. And if that is true, they should have used Chaos Reigns to, dump some good content and actually make some good stuff. But it's even hard to make that excuse for them, because apparently off of the leaks, there's no way they could have known, because the reason everything is being canceled is because Chaos Reigns didn't sell as much. But how could they think they were going to sell that much with overcharging people, making a 4-hour story that abruptly ends? Did y'all think that was going to be enough to fund the other combat pack? Like, are y'all serious? Again, this all falls back on, everybody wants to say Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is the money hungry one, not NRS. But still, I mean, are y'all hands that tied that y'all can't tell them, hey, this is actually not finished? We can't do this. Like, this is the same excuse people made for MK11 over and over. Like, it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished. Blame Warner Bros. They're doing this, they're doing that. But wasn't this supposed to be the game? Y'all got it right. That's why it really annoys me that everybody's pretending like Mortal Kombat 11 was good, because MK11 had all of the same problems that this game has, but with worse gameplay. So, again, that game was terrible. It was actually terrible, in my opinion. But that's just why I feel like it failed. This was NRS's time to make up for the lackluster release and really cement themselves as a real player in the game. And they have done that money-wise, obviously, but they have under-delivered on some departments. Now, that doesn't mean that everything is bad. Again, I think the gameplay for this game is actually great. And I think the gameplay kind of carries the game for the most part. I'm not one of those people that hate cameos just because they're cameos. A lot of people just hate them just because they're there. But either way, again, this was the time for them to actually show out, and they didn't do it. This could have been great. This had the potential, and still does have the potential, to be one of their best games. But if they just are going to keep releasing DLCs like this, I don't know what they think is going to happen. But This is coming from somebody who actually knows about NRS games and actually plays them, not some random editor for a video friggin' informer company that's talking about the game and has no idea what they're talking about. But that's just what I think about it. Wanted to get this done in one take. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you would like to support the channel even more, I have a membership button now. The link is in the description for mobile users. You can, if you join the highest tier, you can force me to talk about any topic you want for once a month. And hope you all enjoyed the video. Nickopz out.